What's up guys, welcome and thank you for coming to my channel. My name is Mimi and I'm here today to share a quick video with you about how I got into the nursing field and finally made my way into NICU nursing. So if you watched any of my previous videos, you probably heard me mention the fact that I was a military member prior to completing my nursing degree. To begin, when I graduated high school, I was about 17 years old running track. So I accepted a full ride scholarship to a four-year university that was about 40 minutes away from home. I went to the university not with a clear picture of exactly what I wanted to do as a working adult. So I went and completed my freshman and sophomore semesters taking general courses. There was a time where I thought I wanted to do computer science. I started taking those courses and it was not for me. So ultimately at the end of my sophomore semester, I got to a point where I just was such in limbo about what I wanted to do that I made the decision to actually drop out of school, move back home, and give myself time to, kind of figure out what I wanted to do. I get back home, and at this point I think I'm about 19, about to turn 20 years old, and I get back home and my parents are like, look, you gotta either get a job, get back in school or something. You're not just about to be sitting in this house. And I totally understood that I was too young to, just sit around doing nothing. So I actually had decided to find a job, and I worked in like a call center for Verizon or something. Absolutely hated it. After working the job for about 6 months, I realized that I needed to complete a degree. I did not want to be in jobs, like those quick and easy jobs that you get that drain the life out of you. I didn't want to do that for the rest of my life. So I made the decision to enroll in a different university that was probably about 20 minutes away from home. And I chose exercise science as my career path, or as my major, simply because I had been in sports all of my life and that was what I knew. But once we got into the nitty and gritty of the program, I actually did not like it. I was thinking that I would enjoy the one-on-one interaction with athletes and basically helping people recover from injuries, but I just didn't like that portion of it. For some reason, it just didn't fit well with me. So then I made a second decision to stop going to school, to give myself more time to figure out exactly what I wanted to do. So at this point, my parents were sitting here looking at me like I'm crazy. They're like, Miriam, you have to figure out. You can't just keep, jumping in and out of school. You'll never finish. You'll never complete your degree. So they actually spoke to me about joining the military. My dad is prior Navy, and he had been adamant and gung-ho about, hey, join the military. It'll give you time to think. It'll give you time to figure out stuff while also learning a skill that'll easily transition to the civilian world. It actually worked, and so we went and talked to a recruiter. Prior to speaking to an Air Force recruiter, my parents and I did take the time to sit down and kind of hash through different type of jobs that I could, potentially accept in the military. My father, who was a Navy corpsman, which is a medical type job, told me, Miriam, hey, if you join the military, I would recommend you finding a career in the health field. That way, once you do leave, if you ever decide to leave the military, you'll be able to use those skills in the civilian world. My mom totally agreed, and we all collectively thought that that would be the best decision for me. So after sitting with my parents and making a collective decision that a healthcare job would be the best decision for me in the military, we finally go and we speak to the recruiter. When speaking to the recruiter, we're told that it is at least 1.5 years to a 2-year wait for medical jobs. They were in such high demand in the military, and so it was going to be a while before one would be offered to me. At first, I was okay with that. I decided to just get back into school and take some courses that would kind of help me, learn more about the medical field. I took like medical terminology and some science courses that would help support my journey in the medical field. And then after a while, probably after like 6 months, I got impatient again. Here I am, what, 20? No, I think I was like 21, about to turn 22 now. And I got impatient and I was like, I'm just ready to go. I'm sick of school. I can't figure out exactly what I want to do. And I'm ready to travel. I want to get away. And I actually go and talk to the recruiter and I say, hey, whatever job is available, let me know. I'll go through it and see if I'm willing to do it, and then I could possibly leave for basic training. So the first job offered to me was a tactical aircraft maintenance. and I read the job description, and it didn't sound awful. It sounded like you would be working a lot with your hands, and you would be on jets. And I don't know, I've never been a person to work with tools all the time. I literally was just a sporty girl, and I figured that, hey, I'm pretty tough, I can do this, it won't be a thing. And then I talked to the recruiter, and he was like, it'll be like you're working at an air show every day. The man lied, because it was nothing like that. But that was my fault for accepting that position. And actually, when I told him to give me the paperwork and the information about the job, I took it home to my parents, and they were like, Miriam, you are not gonna like it, don't take that job. And I was like, well, no, I really am ready to go, and he said that I can cross train after half of my contract, and I'll be able to get the job that I want, and I'm okay, I can deal with it for a little bit. And they said, well, you're an adult, and if you make that decision, just realize that you alone made that decision. And I did. So I accepted the position as a tactical aircraft maintainer, and I left for basic training maybe 3 months after that. So after completing basic training, I was then transferred to Wichita Falls, Texas, which is where my tech school experience began, for tactical aircraft maintenance. Once getting there, I found out which jet I would be working on. I ended up being placed with the A-10 Warthog jet, which is a pretty cool jet. It was kind of cool to find out all the information that we did about the jet. It's pretty cool to be the one working and maintaining the jet for the pilots to fly, but it was definitely not an air show every single day. It was pretty gritty work, and I quickly started to learn that I would not like it. But at this point, I've already signed a 4-year contract, so I have to complete at least 2 years before I can transfer to a different job. So we complete training in Wichita Falls, Texas, and then I am then transferred to my home station, which was Davis-Monthan in Tucson, Arizona. Being transferred all the way to the West Coast was a pretty hard hit for me, because I knew I had joined the military to travel and to live life and experience it. But once I got in there, I realized that's not really what I wanted. I really just made a fast and rash decision based off of emotion. And I quickly started to realize that I didn't want to leave home like that. I missed my family. I had no, friends or family on the West Coast, and it kind of started to feel lonely. I was already not happy with the job, but I spent that 2.5 years, and I went ahead and completed half of my contract, and I found a reserve recruiter on base, and I spoke with him about options on cross training and then actually palace chasing into the Air Force Reserves. I go and I speak with the reserve recruiter, and I let him know, one, I'm very interested in leaving the active duty side of the military, and if at all possible, I would like to find a medical job on the reserve side. And he told me he totally understood, and he would take the time to find those jobs and see what was available in my home area and get back with me. So luckily, I was called and told that there was a medical position available in a unit close to home. It was in Georgia, about 2 hours away from my parents' home, and that was fine, because as reserve members, we meet once a month, 1 weekend a month, and I had no problem with traveling to the duty station in order to get the job that I wanted. And so we went through the process of getting me started to transition from the active duty sector to the reserve side. And then so I accept a position as an aerospace medical technician, and I begin to find out the process of beginning training for that. So once transferring to my reserve unit, I am then about 6 months later sent to Fort Sam Houston, Texas for training as an aerospace medical technician. My tech school experience in Texas was so great. It was a lot different than my initial training as a maintainer. Being a med tech, my experience was so different, and I am very grateful that I was able to go through it. I actually put forth a lot of effort and made sure that I learned the job well. At the end of med tech school, you have to take the NREMT, which is the National Emergency Medical Technician boards, and it's the same on the military. And actually, it's a civilian test that is open to military members to take, and you have to take and pass that exam prior to graduating the medical training. And thankfully I passed it on the first try, and I was able to actually have a certification as an EMT, and if I wanted, I could practice on the civilian side with that license. For me, I didn't really want to be an EMT. My fiance and I actually spent some time while I was in medical training, and we discussed the fact of me going to nursing school. That thought came from just while being medical training, being in the med tech training program, I was exposed to the medical side of things. We were able to do direct patient care, and I actually started to enjoy that side of healthcare. And so we started to look up nursing programs in an area close to him, and we actually found a program that would work perfectly for me. So the program that we found was called the BSN Alternative Pathway program, and it was basically created for military members who had medical training. It was created for pre-licensed individuals, so those who had maybe an LPN or ADN, and it was also for those who had a bachelorette in a outside career field but had some medical training. So once finding that program, I was very much in the mindset that this must be what God wants for me. It is working out perfectly. I just completed this medical training through the military, and here is a nursing program asking for those types of members. So once I completed tech school for the medical training, I then applied for nursing school here in Ohio. I cannot say that it was a green light right away, because like I said, my first attempts at college, I wasn't set on exactly what I wanted to do, so I didn't put forth my best self. So I did spend some time working on pulling my GPA up, as well as completing prerequisites. While I was doing that, I also completed a minor in psychology. I figured, why not? I had psychology courses from taking random courses back in the day, and so I figured I might as well go ahead and minor in psychology. Maybe at some point I'll use it later in life. So finding my way into the NICU was actually a lot easier than I thought it would be. My university actually has a partnership here with local hospital networks, and so in my last semester of nursing school, we had to do our preceptorship, which is where you basically go and shadow on a unit that you are interested in working in. And so we were given a list of possible units that are hiring and searching for new grad nurses, and thank the Lord the NICU was on there. The NICU is the only job that I could think of wanting to actually work once graduating. So thankfully, at my senior semester, or the last semester of my nursing school career, the NICU was on a list of jobs seeking new grad nurses, and I went ahead and applied, and I was accepted. I could not have had a better experience. I could not have had a better preceptor. She was so sweet and so helpful. I learned so much, and I fell in love with the unit. So after that precepting was completed, we had to complete 244 hours. So once that was complete, I actually received a call from the hiring manager probably about 2 weeks after, and I received a call that they were interested in bringing me on as a full-time nurse, and they let me know that if I was willing to accept, they would send out the information and we would begin the hiring process once I graduated and passed my boards. So I actually was able to complete that semester, and I graduated on May 4th in 2019, which was what, yesterday this time last year. So it's been a year that I've graduated, and I am very happy. It's taken a lot to adjust. Floor nursing or bedside nursing, it's the job. And I'm still trying to reflect. It hasn't been a full year that I've been actually working, because I started working in July. So I'll probably make a separate video around that time frame, kind of wrapping up my final thoughts about working on the bedside. But just know, it takes some willpower, and it's a job. So I hope this video was able to fill you in on my specific journey to nursing. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for staying and watching. If you have any comments or even topic suggestions, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below. I will do my best to, follow up with you and interact as much as possible. I hope you guys are taking care of yourself throughout this pandemic. It is a scary time for us all. So, do your part, stay clean and protected, wash your hands, cover your mouth, and until the next time I'm able to see you guys, take care.